Good afternoon, I'm Herman Green with the Midday News. Special welcome to viewers watching on onespotmedia.com. A reminder as well that you can watch TVJ live by downloading our One Spot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1, followed by the words Spot and Media. Despite growing concern about the zones of the Special Operations Bill, the government says it will not be obstructed and is now planning for the law to take effect by mid-July. The legislation will, among other things, allow the Prime Minister to declare a volatile area a zone for special operations. This means security forces can search places, vehicles or persons within those hotspots without a warrant. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck last night told our news center that the Joint Select Committee will complete deliberations on the bill tomorrow. Remaining submissions from the members of the public will be heard.
We may not debate it in Parliament until the following week, which would be the 4th of July. And hopefully on the 4th of July we will debate it fully and pass the law in the lower house, and it should go to the upper house by the 7th of July, and thereafter it is law. We're hoping that the police will be able, the security forces, under the direction of the National Security Council, will be able to enact or implement the provisions under this bill by the middle of July.
And the Justice Minister responded to concerns raised by the parliamentary opposition and some human rights groups about the zones of the Special Operations Bill. He said criticisms and other issues raised will be taken into consideration.
And to the extent that they can be addressed in the bill, because we want all Jamaica to buy into this bill. This Special Zones Bill has to come into operation for us to really choose certain various geographical areas that the security forces can swoop down and ensure that within these special zones that law and order is restored and that the people can go about their lawful business without fear and to be able to move in safety and feeling quite secure.
The police have released the identities of the 2 men who were fatally shot in Raytown, Kingston last night. They are 34-year-old Rashawn Harriott of Maiden Street in Kingston and 41-year-old Sean Cunningham of James Street, also in Kingston. A 3rd man was shot and injured. The incident occurred on Potters Row in the Elliston Road community. Reports indicate that about 8:30, Mr. Harriott and Mr. Cunningham drove a motor car to the area to get ice. While at the location, men drove up and opened gunfire, hitting them. They were pronounced dead at hospital. A man who was nearby was also shot and is in stable condition in hospital. Former Member of Parliament Damian Crawford is blasting persons from poor communities who claim to get involved in crime because of poverty. Mr. Crawford was speaking at a recent People's National Party meeting in East Kingston, where he also chided residents who do not condemn criminal activities in their own community to their own detriment.
For Damian Crawford, the current crime wave, which has seen the murder rate skyrocketing, is caused by one main factor.
It is deceitfulness and greediness and graveliciousness and a worship of money that cause this crime. Because when a person is of good heart and good intention, you don't rate him. When a person is of good health and fit and can walk up couple mountain, you don't say, yo, them man are fit and have good health. A big fat man over heart soon drop out. If him coming 100,000, you say, boss.
He says this greed has several young people aspiring to have money like the Dons and lottery scammers. But he's warning that criminal wealth is temporary.
Just rich. Where is he? Zeke's rich. Don't keep. Enough of them rich. Sandokan if you don't know them man there. Natty Morgan if you know them man there. Many of whom me grew up I hear them name. Where are they now? So when me ever youth I say, yo, me want to be like the Dan. Because the Dan have money. Money like who? Butch Stewart? The Dan have money like Butch Stewart. So why you want to be a poorer man? Why you don't want to be like Butch Stewart? Can you want this?
As for the community members who condone criminality, he warns that crime, especially murders, costs everyone, as a funeral alone costs the community an average $1 million.
In a year, community community alone in the last 5 years, you tell me how much people not of natural causes dead, and multiply that by $1 million and see how much money leak out of your community. Because which one own in the community own a funeral party? Which one of you in the community own some of your sell funeral clothes? Which one of you in the community own a hearse? Which one of you in the community own somebody will make casket? All of that money leak out.
He's calling for a mentality change as part of the thrust to reduce crime. Simone Golding reporting for TVJ News.
It's being reported that 257 criminal gangs are now operating in Jamaica. Police intelligence estimates that an additional 41 groups are on the verge of becoming gangs. Deputy Superintendent of Police Dwight Clark adds that there are also about 50 school gangs. The groups are operating in 13 divisions across the island and are now under police surveillance.
Many of them we see are connected to parent gangs. So in the school environment, we're not aware that they are shooting people, robbing people on school compounds in most cases. But we are aware that in the community, at the community level, many of these persons are involved in serious and violent crimes. One situation over in St. Catherine South played out recently at a particular school which was connected to a violent incident in the Central Village area. So we know that this is a phenomenon that we must appreciate better and address.
In other news, with two members of parliament set to resign this week, the Electoral Office of Jamaica, EOJ, says it will be ready in the event that by-elections are called soon. Member of Parliament for St. Andrews Southwestern, Portia Simpson-Miller, and Dr. Omar Davies, who has represented St. Andrews Southern since 1993, are set to resign on Thursday. Director of Elections, Orette Fisher, spoke with TVJ News on the EOJ's state of readiness.
There are certain statutory requirements in terms of an election being announced, which provides a certain time between announcement and nomination and between nomination and election day. So I am satisfied that if an election is called, we would be able to conduct the election within the statutory time which will be provided under the law.
The Jamaica Public Service, JPS, says customers who were affected by the fire at the Cardiff Hall on Saturday may experience further disruptions in their power supply. JPS Corporate Communications Officer Audrey Williams says this is as a result of repairs being carried out at the facility as significant damage was done to the company's equipment.
But we are going to be doing our best to minimize that possibility, to minimize the impact for our customers. So yes, it is quite possible that there will be at some point in the future an outage to deal with some more repairs that need to be carried out. But we certainly will do our best to make sure that the customer is not negatively impacted for an extended period of time.
Several communities in St. Anne were plunged into darkness over the weekend following a major explosion at the JPSCO's service company substation. The substation at Cardiff Hall exploded around 9 o'clock and power was not restored until approximately 10:30 Sunday morning. And classes resumed this morning for the 30 students of the Arcadia Basic School in St. Thomas who were last week displaced by a fire at the institution. The students have been relocated to the neighboring Arcadia Primary School. They are being housed in the Library and Resource Center. Acting Principal Mavern Galloway told TVJ News this morning that the students will use the facility until a suitable location is found. Damage from the fire has been estimated at $30 million. The school building, which was constructed in January, was destroyed. According to reports, a man of unsound mind was seen coming from the board structure when the fire started. The police rescued him from an angry mob. He remains in police custody. In an effort to reduce the cost of electricity in public institutions, the government has selected 50 public schools to be part of a solar energy project. Speaking at the Homewood Technical High School graduation ceremony yesterday, Government Senator Matthew Samuda said the schools selected for the project will be powered by solar energy. He adds that the government is also very close to completely removing pit latrines from the school system.
This government will be able to say further to the country that no more schools will have pit latrines. We have brought it down from 60 when we came in to 7 remaining, and those 7, I know we're getting courts in now to change that. And it is something that in modern day Jamaica, there should be no school with a pit latrine, and it is something.
He said the government is also working to remove the shift system from the remaining educational institutions.
It is something that the entire administration is committed to, and we are working tirelessly to increase the capacity of our schools so that we can take them off of shift system once and for all.
In international news, a tourist boat capsized in northwest Colombia on Sunday, leaving at least 6 people dead. 31 people are still missing. We go to the CNN for more. News in sports, as Cavalier are back in the Premier League at the first time of asking after beating Priory 2-0 in the Magnum Premier League playoffs at Draughall Field. Cavalier got their goals from Ryan Miller in the 14th minute and an own goal in the 85th minute to make amends for their 2016 relegation. Sandals South Coast, who started atop the table on 8 points, will have to wait until the final day to see if they will accompany Cavalier to the Premier League. They were beaten 4-1 by Rivoli United at the Prison Oval. Sandals went into the game needing at least a draw to book a first Premier League berth, and at one stage were 1-1 before being blown away. Rivoli gave themselves a real shot of returning to the top flight football, as they are now on 5 points. That's 3 behind Sandals.
Rivoli going to beat this team from we play them down there now. We give away the match from we play them at country. They make some awful mistake, you know. Should win that match, you know. But unfortunately, we didn't do that. We know if we come to Spanish Town, we know we're going to do what we got to do. So all we got to do, we have to take care of our own business at home.
We gave up 2 soft goals at first. We get back into the game, and when we get back into the game, we never really try and stay in the game. We were trying and force the game too much, and so comes Rivoli get that chance again to score on us, and they score in the run-up play where we're trying to get the equalizer. You know, that's a part of the game. We just have to lift our heads up. We have 1 more game to go. If we get a point from that game, we just have to work again at training, and then we look forward to the next game.
The final round will see Sandals South Coast playing away to Cavalier and Rivoli United hosting Priory, who are out of contention. And Jamaica Reggae boys were stunned 2-1 by Curaçao in the final of the Caribbean Cup in Martinique last evening. The boys were behind from as early as the 10th minute when Ellison Hu deflected a shot rolled past custodian Dwayne Miller. The Jamaicans pulled level 7 minutes from time when substitute Rosario Harriot slotted from close range. However, seconds later, Hu popped up to slam home from close range to dethrone the Jamaicans of their title. This is the first time that Curaçao has beaten Jamaica in 3 attempts since 1965. The team is set to return home later today. And that's the Midday News. I'm Herman Green. Join us at 7 for the Primetime News Package. On behalf of our news, sports and production teams, good afternoon.